Gomez and Company here. Lisa live from the loft at the home office as we welcome in Joe Convertino Jr. from CH Insurance for our Cup of Joe. Joe, how are you? Good to see you.
Good morning.
Joe?
It's so good to be in your office, Gomez. It's been too long.
And technically it's not too far from the CH Insurance World Headquarters to the Galaxy Media Partners World Headquarters.
You're right, but I got to let a little... I did not walk. I didn't get my steps in, guys. I drove down here.
That's okay. You know, we were just discussing that even at home, we're both at the same point in life where we take the car out to the mailbox to get the mail instead of walking.
That is, well, it's funny. Even when you come home, instead of driving in the garage, I'm pulling up to the mailbox if Linda doesn't get the mail.
Yes.
Are we at that stage of our life?
Yes. It's a great stage, Joe. It's like,
okay,
what's the least effort I can put to get my mail?
Yeah, but Lisa, Gomez was telling me before we got on, he backs the car out and goes get. I have not done that.
If it's raining or snowing, like I'll open the garage door, I'm not beyond just backing the car down the driveway to the mailbox, get the mail, go back into the garage, close the door behind me.
Gomez, what if your vehicle hits the mailbox? Is that collision or comprehensive? Would that be a deductible
That
for you?
is something that I am blaming on somebody else. But it would be, I guess it would be,
No, it would be your deductible.
It would be? Oh,
Collision.
okay.
Yeah. I see you got Crunch stuff here. Plug for the Crunch, and I should know this. If they win Saturday,
yes.
they're in the playoffs?
They're in now.
They're already in.
So the game 1 and 2 will be in Rochester in the first round of the Calder Cup playoffs. It's the 2-3 series.
Oh,
so
okay.
1 and 2 are in Rochester, 3 and then 4 if necessary next week back home. But yes, go Crunch.
The reason I'm excited, one of my buddies and clients, Mackay Sports, I don't know if you guys know Sean Norfolk, does all the stuff for
out
them.
in the Lakeland.
He's like, Junior, are you free next Thursday? If the Crunch win,
yes.
we're going to have a box. So I'm going to go to a box. So I got to have them win.
They're definitely going to be, because they'll, even if...
Are they in automatic?
Well, it's in the playoffs right now. So even if they lost the 2 in Rochester, which I don't think they're going to, they're still coming back at least to game 3
Okay.
Yeah.
and 4. So you're going to your box.
I got to
next
go
Thursday.
to a box.
Yes.
It'll be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice. So,
But the good stuff. Well, it's the time of the year, Joe, too, where, and we were talking about earlier, people planning vacations, people getting ready to head out of town. And I know we touch on this probably every year, but if you're renting a car, if you're going somewhere and you have a car rental for a week or 10 days or a couple of days or whatever like that, and what's, as far as like if you had a
the code of ethics?
yes. Or if you had a problem with it, or you had a fender bender on vacation in a rental car, and I know they like to get you to get the insurance. I'm one of those guys that says, no, I don't need your insurance. You're just trying to scam me.
Right, but you can decline it because it's included technically the liability under your personal autos. Okay, so you can decline it, so the liability would cover it. It depends. If you're going to be off-roading or doing some goofy stuff,
that's true.
you may want to, or you got the kids driving, all over the town, you may want to purchase the insurance. But even in a business world, right, the commercial fleet, they go to business trips all over. Their coverage follows them with the business insurance piece of the policy. So you just got to be aware of, a standard week vacation for Gomez with you and your wife. I would decline the insurance. Maybe Lisa's off-roading or something.
Yeah, she's out renting a Ferrari.
And then the other thing people forget, maybe you let grandma or an aunt borrow the car on a rental vehicle. Okay. Then that gets a little dicey.
Because sometimes when you're picking it up, you got to say who else is driving it.
Correct.
But
big percentage of the time, you're declining the insurance. If you do accept the insurance, make sure you walk around. You've heard me talk about it. Take a couple photos of dings. They're getting you out of there. They're getting you out of there so fast now. They don't even check cars.
Yeah.
It seems like. I mean, it's just in and out, fast paced. So look at the car, make sure it's in good shape, and you should be in good hands from that standpoint.
Now, as far as, again, we were chatting a little bit off the air, but trends for the year 2025, and I know things weather related,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
It was like, what are some of the things that you're looking in your business here for this year?
Did you read this article, Gomez?
No,
that
I
I
did not.
brought in? I'm
I did
kidding.
not read your
research. So I did. I wanted to talk about some trends that are changing is with technology in our business, shifting consumer needs and emphasis on personalization. And what that means is you're going to see if someone drives less or practices safe driving, you could create some savings. So even my daughter, we were rating a family, and they're like, she goes, Dad, I need to know, do they drive less than 10,000 miles? Okay. Someone that drives more could pay more. So it's hitting locally with changes with the underwriting that could affect the premium. It's not just defensive driving anymore, right? These houses are smart homes, right? Instead of shutting the water, there's detectors with technology. If the water leaked, you're going to go right to your phone. That person's going to pay less on their homeowner's insurance.
Gotcha.
It's getting crazy with the technology, and that's what I think is going to come more and more in 25. The other thing that a lot of consumers are fighting, some of our carriers say, if you put this in your car and we see your driving habits, you're going to save 10%.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Now, Gomez, do you want that in your car? You don't.
No.
What if you could save $700?
I would then. Because then it does make you pay, pay attention.
It does. But for me, it would get me nervous.
Yes. Make me nervous.
Why are you on your phone, Joe Jr.? Why are you texting Gomez on the show on the question of the morning?
Yes.
Right? Because I'm texting you, but I'm really voice texting.
Yes. But they wouldn't know that. I mean, it looks like.
Right. So that's what we're going to see more of. You talked about the climate with what's going on with all the different wildfires, the exposure.
Hurricanes. The last couple of years have been tough in Florida for hurricanes.
All that stuff. So, again, they call it eco-friendly homes that are going to detect things that, not a tornado or hurricane, but certain things that can help reduce premium. And then, of course, the world of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with this stuff. Are you guys?
I know what it is. I don't like it generally, but I know what it is. Sure. Yeah.
AI means accurate insurance.
Aha. I like what you did there.
I'm only kidding.
I like it.
So that's coming in our business where it's here now. And then we always talk about the bundling of things with savings. And then the last thing is the rise of cyber attacks and cyber insurance. So makes our jobs tougher, but that's why you need to work with someone you trust, have a relationship with, and has access to a lot of carriers. And that's kind of what you need from an independent agent like CH.
Lisa, did you have a question for Joe?
Lisa's raising her hand.
Yeah.
Well, I just, you mentioned homeowners insurance, and in the real estate world, I did take a class about preventing fires. Really, it was all about because when we had wildfires a few years ago, remember, that was just a nightmare. And they talked a lot about things you can do to reduce the chance that if there is a fire near you, that your house will go up. And I know that insurance carriers were giving discounts out west if you put in like rocks instead of mulch. If all of the trees around your house were like 100 feet away from your house. There were all these interesting little things that people were doing to reduce the chances that their homes would catch fire. They live in heavily wooded areas, and their insurance premiums were starting to creep up. And then they said, hey, wait a minute, we can do all these preventative things. So all those things really interesting. Doesn't involve tech. All it means is chopping down some trees and putting rocks instead of mulch. And they were also saying that helps with water damage and all, wind damage, because if a tree falls, it's not going to fall on your house, it's falling over there. So those were just some of the things.
That's amazing. They had a class on that with real estate, but that's all coming east. What she's talking about is coming here for all the things we've been discussing, because the premiums have been escalating, and we got to stop paying for losses in the industry that are in other parts of the country.
Gotcha.
Right? Northeast typically is a great place from an insurance standpoint. It really is. I mean, but we talked about, we'll never have a tornado. Well, we had one in Rome last summer.
It's Joe Convertino from CH Insurance, our cupper. Joe, good to see you, man. We got move on. We got. Are you a sports memorabilia guy? You got.
Yes.
What do you? Well, I'll tell you. Hang on to that. We'll get to the break here. You can kind of tell me, and I can run that by Brandon Steiner.
Ooh, okay.
You might have
I got to
some stuff
think.
think about that stuff. But Joe Convertino, Joe, we'll see you next time around.
Thanks. Have a good day.